Hi, everybody. Welcome to the Deep Shift. My name is Karen Jones, and
I'm Shay Sisler.
there you go. We are the Deep Shift ladies, that we're here to tap into the energy of what the heck is going on in 2022, in the month of August. This
Yes.
is the first podcast, and we have a lot to talk about. We will cover all kinds of topics and subjects that relate to this moment of ascension, basically.
Yes. And honestly, we're going to talk about some of the ascension symptoms that you might be experiencing because we're all experiencing a lot right now. And I know for me, I'm just like drained, and that is part of the symptoms. And yeah, so we're going to talk a lot of, about that today, what's coming up soon, and kind of how Karen and I got into this. So Karen, how did we get into this podcast and come up with that name?
Oh my goodness gracious. Okay, so we're both basically new agers, light workers, star seeds, whatever you want to call that. We don't want to get too much into creating too much division, because we got enough division going on the planet right now. However, we definitely have dabbled in information that a lot of other people have not tapped into. So we are a part of, I would say, Shay, that we're a part of the awakening of many people who want to know more about this stuff. So yes, we will be talking about things that are a little bit different from the norm. And Shay and I, we met several years ago. I had the pleasure of taking Shay's soul regression course, but I had met her before that because we were both working in the same building here in Las Vegas, and we had met at a luncheon, actually, and exchanged a few words. But we met again later because our community is a small community, and our paths crossed again, thank God. And I took her soul regression course and stepped into a whole new world because
Yeah,
my
it has been quite a magical journey because not only that, Karen came to me and had a session, her own personal session too. And from that, we discovered a whole new world that we now every week get together and do some channeling based on that information. And we're able to go in and get a lot of information about the ascension process that we're in the deep shift that we're which helps us to get through the process, and we get a lot of nice messages downloaded to us on how to help everyone else, and we decided we wanted to share that information.
Exactly. Yeah, so what is channeling? There are some of you who have absolutely no idea what on earth are you talking about. Well, channeling, I would say that all of us channel to some degree, and there are some who channel just a lot deeper. Channeling, I think, has been a very powerful tool that's been given to humanity to help us get through this particular time in history. For those of you who don't know, the ascension, this time frame, actually it started probably in 2012, right, Shay?
With a big push for it. I mean, honestly, we've been going towards the ascension time since the time of Atlantis.
Mm.
So, but we really accelerated in 2012 to really
Right,
be where we are now.
right. That was December 12th,
21st.
2012, or December 20th, something like that.
Yeah, at the
I will be
solstice.
a little more precise about that, but it's not important. What's important is
Yeah.
that right, right before COVID began, and we stepped into the lockdown, that was a big part of humanity literally tuning in, because we had the time to um,
Slow down.
un- yeah, to slow
Yeah.
down, to unplug, to get away from the routine of life, and to take a step back. And this has been super powerful for all of humanity, all over the planet, because it gave people an opportunity to say, hey, why am I working three jobs? Hey, why am I working 10, 11 hours a day for a job that I hate? Why am I not spending more time with my kids? I really love this. And cooking, and spending time with my partner. And I mean, the list goes on to of all the positive things that came out of COVID.
Right.
And
And I want to point out here because people can look at that as a negative or a positive.
Right.
Depends on how you look at it, on how you move forward from the situation. And just like you said, when you can see the positive in it, so many people started their own business after, the COVID began, because they realized that they don't want to go back to the hamster wheel and just be stuck in that 9 to 5 grind, So a lot of new businesses came up. A lot of people realized that their family is so much more important. And I mean, it is an amazing transition. And through all my soul regression sessions, I've been told that this is a time of the awakening. And this is part of that process to get people to slow down and to wake up and see what's really happening on this planet.
Exactly. That self-awareness that came out of being home. People were, yes, living in fear. That was not the best part of it. However, oftentimes humanity shifts into something greater when they're faced with something tragic. Hopefully that won't be the only way to grow. However, it has been a strong impetus for people to step forward, to make choices that are bigger for their souls, not just for the power or the money or the greed of living in today's modern world, right? So much has come up out of it. So that was the beginning of the of what we would call the deep shift, right? We are literally going in deeper now, and this shift, this ascension into a deeper dimension, a deeper awareness of who we are, not based on power and greed, but based on kindness and love and honoring of our differences, not focusing on the differences as a means of division. So yes, this conversation is going to go very deep, because there are some, let's say, some energies on this planet that have been provoking the fear, provoking the division, because they thrive on that energy.
Yes. And one thing I want to point out with that, the fear, and when COVID first hit, the fear and the anger that people were in, I started this work 7 years ago, and my guides, my spiritual team, told me at that time that the world is going to get really, really crazy out there. And what your role is to keep the calm, because when things start getting crazy out there, then there needs to be pillars of calmness to keep everybody stable. Because during that time when we had all the shutdowns, and we're just so many people that were caught up in the fear and the anger, and just having conversations with people and telling them a little bit about what we've channeled, what my clients, what comes through and the messages, really gave people a lot of peace in the process. And so that's what we're here to do too, is to help people through this transition phase, because we've been told, we've been warned that these times are coming. And, I was told too that there are going to be a lot of people leaving the planet. Okay. My husband passed away, and they told me one of the reasons why I had to experience that is because I'm here to also help people through the grieving process. And that grieving process is coming up now. If you see, more and more people have left the planet now through this whole process.
Yeah, I was just reading on the insurance companies, and the percentage of people that have died since, I think, 2021 is 50% higher than it's been in the year before, in the last couple of years. So yes, it is true. Uncomfortable to hear, but it is important. This is not a conspiracy theory. These are facts. So, yeah. What were you talking about, Shay? About channeling, because I started to say what channeling was. So channeling has been going on for a really long time. I was first exposed to channeling when I was a child, and I discovered Edgar Cayce. So for those of you who would like to do some research, Edgar Cayce healed, I don't know how many thousands of people. And he was a Sunday school teacher and a portrait photographer. And he would go to sleep, literally, and this voice would start speaking through him. So he is a channel for this energy. Some say it was a doctor of sorts. It was a healer for sure, because he just had these very natural, specific, I mean, to the detail was incredible, that how he would heal people of their illnesses that went beyond the usual medical allopathic path, right? So he literally would sleep, and he didn't remember what he said. His I think it was his wife or his son at one point took over, but someone would record what he said, and there's a full library dedicated to his work in Virginia that I went to visit with my mom many years ago when we went on a vacation together. So fond memories of an amazing channeler, one of our most powerful channelers. And since then, we've had many channelers. Shay has had the honor of helping people discover their channeling ability, and has gotten lots of information because of it. Do you want to talk about that?
Yeah, I would love to talk about it, actually, because I find that so fascinating. One of the things I was told right after my husband passed away is that what my role here is to do is to help clear out the passageway between us, our energy, and source energy, or our higher self. And through that, they told me that I would be working with many channelers, because as we clear out those energy, along that way, then we start tapping into our higher self. And our higher self lives in many dimensions, but we want to tap into that higher wisdom and that higher knowledge. And so when we can clear out the trauma or the energy that's blocking us, then we're able to tap into the parts of ourself that have all the knowledge and all the wisdom. Because any question that you might have, the answer to that already, but we doubt at this point in our life because we're not in connection, and we've lost that connection to source, to our higher self. And once a part of my job and what I've been told is to help people make that connection so they know what it feels like, so that they don't have to come and see me, because they can sit home and just connect. And so that's one of the things that we were able to do in your session, is to help you clear out that energy along the way. And then all of a sudden, bam, you started channeling. And that was really an amazing experience. And we'll talk about that some other time, or unless you want to share now. But just opening up that channel for you was pretty incredible for both of us. And then, of course, we were told that we had charted to work together and do things. So we try to get together every week and try to connect with the Council of Healers, which is who you channel, but you sit on the council. Your higher self is part of the council. And I think that that's really important for people to be aware of who they're channeling. And we want to definitely make sure that it is part of you and part of your higher awareness or higher councils, so that, because there are lower entities that you could channel that could steer you in the wrong direction too.
Yes, that can happen as well. The channeling of the Council of Healers was a huge surprise in my life. I have been wary of fully coming out my woo life, but I believe that it is time, because I believe that, woohoo, that's how it should be, right? Woohoo.
Yes.
We all should be celebrating that part of ourselves that goes beyond the physical matter of our bodies, and tapping into our souls. And the information that has come from the Council of Healers has been absolutely kind, generous, very careful, also in how they share certain information. Some information they will not give. So it's not about cheating and getting all the answers, because that's not really what it is. It's about connecting and tapping into ourselves. So I think that channeling has been a wonderful gift to humanity, to allow us to move forward with greater ease, because we do get the information when we ask the right questions. And this is life in general. When you ask the right questions, the universe or God or whatever you want to call that energy that makes the grass grow, will always bring you the information. You just have to be willing to receive it and get out of your own way.
Yeah. And when you know that your higher self is giving you that information, you quit doubting and you quit, questioning, is that correct? Is that right? And it's as simple as, you might get a message to turn right. And you're like, oh no, I always go this way. But the message came in to turn right, but you decide that you're going to go home the right way that you've always gone. And then you get in a car accident. That was your higher self trying to guide you away from disaster or something that's not for your highest and best good. But we don't always listen. But once we start tapping into that, and then we can start trusting those messages that we receive and know that this is for my highest and best good. And that's really what we want, is we want everyone tapping into that part of themselves and trusting that part.
Yes.
So you don't question, you just follow it.
Right. Especially now, because we are in the deep shift.
Yes.
and that is a lovely play on words on purpose.
Yes.
A lot of people are going through a lot of really interesting things right now, and they just attribute it to, oh, this is just life. There's, my life is a mess. And no,
no,
there's more to the picture. Look, the bigger picture is huge, right? And I look like I'm in space. The bigger picture for all of us is part of this ascension. We're all participating. There is an influx of light that is coming into this planet that hasn't been seen in 20,000 years, if ever. I'm going to say too, because I've heard both. That has been 20.
I think that the photon belt that we're entering into is a place where we've been here before, as from my understanding, but also we're completing a cycle. And when we get into this energy, that's what opens up the passageways for us to channel. It also opens up the passageway for us to have, teleportation skill abilities and telekinesis abilities, and so as we go into that, we're all going to start becoming superheroes as we start tapping into that. More and more people are opening their third eye, and they'll be able to see visions and get images and connect with the other side, the people who've already crossed over.
Right. So you're not crazy. I just want to emphasize that for those of you who are like, what are you guys talking about? Yeah. If you've been having some weird experiences going on, like you think something and you see it right away, or you think of someone and they call you right away, this is all part of us ascending into greater abilities, somewhat like the X-Men. So get ready for a world of people that live with X-Men abilities. Those abilities are our birthright. We are finally moving into a whole new way of showing up in the world. And so telekinesis, telepathy, all of that will be possible. And if it's not already happening and you're ignoring it because you think everyone's going to say that you're crazy, well, you're not crazy. I just want to emphasize that you're not crazy. You've just stepped into the deep shift.
Yes. And part of the deep shift, let's just talk about some of those symptoms that they might be feeling and experiencing too, because I know for me lately, I have been so wore out. I mean, just energy. I feel like I've just zapped of my energy. That is part of this whole deep shift.
Right. That's a big one.
Yes. And so a lot of people are experiencing that. A lot of people are experiencing migraines, headaches, because their third eye is opening. The crown chakra is opening. And by doing that, it's causing all this deep shift within the body. So the body is going through these changes as well. Also, all of this light that's coming in is changing our body into a more crystalline structure as we transition from the third dimension through the fourth dimension into the fifth dimension. So a lot of things are shifting and changing. Sometimes when you're eating things, all of a sudden you'll just start wanting to eat lighter, eat natural foods and get away from the meat. And there's nothing wrong with eating meat. I just want to throw that out there because several of my clients have been guided by their higher self that they need meat, but make better choices on the food that we eat too. But there's so much going on within the body, body aches that you never had before. You might be gaining weight. You might be losing weight. A lot of this is just part of the ascension symptoms. You might have ringing in your ears. That's a huge one that
I've
I
had
hear.
a lot more lately. True that. Or rash. I have this lovely rash that showed up that they call probably rosacea, or they might give it another name. But I know that it's part of the shifting of my body and how your body is trying to recalibrate itself with this new light that's coming in. I mean, we've just never experienced it before. So there's a lot of stuff going on internally, and not only internally, it's going on with your being, your soul. Like they say that there are a lot of downloads and upgrades. So the crystalline property, the way we're toning into crystalline beings, that means your body is not acting in the same way that it was acting 2 years ago, 3 years ago. It's different.
Absolutely. Yeah,
And
so there's a lot of shifting going on with everything. I know eyesight's another one. People are, they have blurry vision, just different things, or their vision all of a sudden just gets cleared up. And they don't even understand. It's like, oh my gosh, all these natural healings are coming in for people too. And I've had people come in for sessions that have had instant healing, and all healing is self-healing. So I like to let everybody know that I'm not the healer. I don't do any of the work, but I had a guy come in once who came in for a root canal. And I said, well, let's just ask for some healing. So we did. We asked the higher self for healing, and he could feel the warm energy in his mouth, and he was just feeling it all. And then he's like, oh my gosh, my body is like on fire. And I'm like, that's the healing properties coming in. And then he went in for his root canal the following Tuesday. This was like a Thursday or Friday. And the following Tuesday, they said, well, there's nothing here. We don't have to do the root canal. So it's pretty amazing.
Yep.
And I had a lady just last week, actually, who had some shoulder pain. So we were able to go in and ask for healing there. And we'll get into more of that later, because I was talking about the energy that's with us, sometimes the negative energy. But after that, she texted me and she said, oh my gosh, not only does my shoulder not hurt, she says, and I keep checking it to make sure, like, are you sure for real? She says, but it also restructured my breast. So when she told me that, she had never told me that there was anything wrong with her breast. But obviously, when she was in there, her higher self went ahead and did whatever it needed to do to restructure. So there is a lot of healing going on right now, too, for people. And a lot of times you just need to ask.
Yep.
Focus on it.
Ding, 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 ding. Ask. You don't ask, you got to ask. A lot of people feel that they don't deserve the right to ask. But isn't a prayer an ask? Mm-hmm. I mean, it is just another form of prayer. So if you are good with prayer, then don't be afraid to ask. Ask at will. I mean, you can really, literally at will. Another symptom that has come up is waking up with your legs really, really achy. Like that's happened to me a couple of times. I'm like, what the heck is going on? And it's not because I need, extra vitamins or anything like that, because I ask my body, because that's also something you can do, is have conversations with your body. And it was like, no, this is part of the deep shift. This is the shifting of energy. So be aware that this is the time of great change. Okay. And some of you will experience big change, others smaller change, but recognize that God never gives you more than you can handle. All right. So we're also here to be cheerleaders and support you on your journey. And that's why we're sharing a lot of this information, so that you can know that you're not going nuts.
You're not alone in this process. Yeah. And you know what? You can go online and just type in ascension symptoms and, just do that. And you'll be surprised what you find. And when you go through and you read a lot of the stuff that's on there, you're going to like, oh my gosh, that's me. I haven't been able to sleep for weeks. I've had these weird dreams, and you're reading through there. You're like, I have all of these symptoms. And it's like, you'll be surprised. But it's really good to be able to go in there and just know that you're not alone. A lot of people are experiencing all of that. And it did just start really amping up since 2012. And we are getting now into, and if you notice, time is speeding up. because we're getting into the middle of, I mean, it's just like amping up. And so one of the things we channeled today was talking about what's coming up in the fall and to be prepared and to get lots of rest. And one of the things they told me today was that take the time that I'm resting now because I'm going to need it in the fall. Whatever's happening in the fall or whatever's coming up, take the time to rest now, because I have a feeling I'm going to be a lot busier in my work, because I think that this is going to open up a lot of more people, and they'll have a lot more questions, you know, asking about the ascension symptoms, you know, wanting to know about their galactic families, you know, wanting to know why they experienced all of this or whatever they're experiencing. What is my purpose? You know, all of these questions. That's what the soul regression that I do is really all about, and what I try to help people get answered too. And then it's about the clearing, the trauma that we have that we need to clear out too. And I know a lot of your work, you do a lot of the clearing of the trauma with your access bars and different.
Right. Yeah, well, Shay and I have, you know, different modalities, and you have to follow your heart, what you feel pulled to. So it's important to just be, you know, if something pulls you, listen, go towards it. Shay's technique is amazing. I like I said, that's how I discovered the Council of Healers. I also channel light language music, like language songs, and light language, like language. And for those of you who know nothing about that, that also is another channeling ability that brings in sound and language that is filled with light. And that light is transmitted through your body into your field. Your field is literally the space around you, like your auric field. Most of you know about the aura. You've heard about the aura. That is how when they read your aura, it is that space around you. So basically, I tap into that with these sounds. That's my gift, because I'm also a professional singer. I've been singing professionally for a long time. And so it's part of my my makeup. It's me. I am music. I am sound. So when I work with my clients, I work with tuning forks. I work with a lot with my voice, and I receive information through these channels that assist in your healing. So I'm basically the catalyst that activates you to heal yourself. We always come back.
Absolutely. Yeah. And I will put in the link below here too, the interview that Karen and I did when we were talking about her waking up to realize that she was the music. I thought it was a great interview, so we'll attach that. Plus there's several channelings that, you know, we want to share with everybody, so we'll put some links to that as well.
And regularly we will have the message from the Council of Healers for the message to humanity, because we meet today, every day, every week, and we have the message. So we will attach it to the podcast every week as well. So yeah, I think we want to wrap it up for today, and we'll pop
it's been a really amazing conversation today. And please, anybody that has questions, don't hesitate to send us questions. The other thing I want to point out too is that Karen and I channel together for others. If you want a session and you want to ask like a couple, 2-3 questions, what happens is when we get together and meet with the Council of Healers, we can pull in your higher self and ask questions for you of your higher self. We'll do a recording of that, and then we'll send it back to you after we've channeled. Now you can get the link for that either on my website. I believe, Karen, do you have that on your website where they can connect into that?
I don't have that on my website, but I'll be putting that up.
Okay, sure. So that'll be up. But yeah, feel free to we'll put that below too. And that you can get that on my website under services. You'll see I'm Karen and Shay channeling the Council of Healers, and you just sign up there, and then you'll submit your questions. And then once, you know, you're going to give us a couple of weeks to have the session, get it edited, and then send it to you. But it is an option there for you, for anybody who wants to just experience getting answers from the Council of Healers. But yeah, every week, you know, feel free to ask us in the questions, comments below, and we'll ask, or answer questions that people have, just
Right.
talking about this whole ascension process and this deep shift.
Right. And if you have anything that you'd like us to talk about, to go a little bit deeper into, please put that in the chat below, and we'll see if we can get to it. Obviously, if we're inundated, we won't be able to get to everybody, but we will try and tap into subjects that have a greater energy to them, that seems to tap into more people that are watching our podcast.
Yeah, so and one thing I do want to say is that our reality is continually shifting. And so if this doesn't resonate with you, then just disregard what we say, because we're just speaking from our experience and what we have learned through our learning and our journey. And if it doesn't resonate with you, maybe it will at another time. But right now, we're not trying to convince anybody to believe like we believe or think like we think. We're just sharing our experiences and what we've learned along our journey. So we appreciate all of you. Yeah. And thank you for being here with us tonight. So
yes, thanks for tuning in, and remember to tune in.
Yes.
That's where everything is. It comes always back into you. And so take that time to meditate. This is the time to tune in, even if you only have 5 minutes. Okay. So we will see you again next week. Join us again for the deep shift.
Beautiful. Thank you all.
I love you, my friend. And
love you. Okay. Talk to you later. Bye.
What do you see coming for the fall?
The reality on planet Earth is pretty wobbly as usual. The light continues to flow in, and there is this sense of change. There is a sense of discomfort. There are those who are exhausted. There are those who are physically ill. That could be what others have deemed the COVID virus, or the flu, or the cold, or stomach issues, or rashes. I mean, the list is extensive for this time of change, from the shift from 3D to 4D to 5D. Many are feeling just uncomfortable, not necessarily balanced. There is a sense of chaos. There is a sense of not knowing what the future holds. There is great division, for the evil ones are still creating greater fear, and thereby creating more division, turning up the barometer of fear through division, through inflation, through gas prices being higher and higher, through the lies and the corruption. These are all things that have been mentioned not only by us, but also by many light workers around the world. This month is creating great change. There will be change for all of us. Great shifts in your normal life as you move ahead and then seem to move back, and then move ahead and then seem to move back, and then this kind of change, it will be prevalent throughout the month of August, moving into September as well. There are bursts of anger as your humanity desires the future, and yet seems to run into obstacles in creating it. The foundation upon which the world functions financially is shaky, to say the least. You feel as if there is a quake moving around the world as the people gather, the people seek change. The foundation of humanity, the quote-unquote bottom of the pyramid, is quaking in their boots more and more every day. It has not gotten to the point of uprising as a global movement. However, we do not see that being far away. It is not far away. So we say to you, be patient. We say to you, connect with the earth. Tune in. Gather with your friends and keep your vibration high through laughter. Keep your vibration high through smiles and kindness, acts of kindness. Keep your vibration high by loving, even when that love is not returned in kind. Allow yourself the moments of solitude. Breathe. Spend time with your pets. And if you have no pets, go to a pet store and pet a puppy or kitten or whatever your fancy is. Spend time looking into the eyes of these creatures and know that all is well. The change and changes that show up out of nowhere are showing up to push you forward. And though you do not like being pushed forward and you stick your heels in hard, trust that when you are pushed forward, that it will be exactly where you need to be. And from there, there will be greater opportunities for your life and for the life of all. For the life and living, for it is in this operative word of living that all deserve to be living a life that is kind and loving and supportive and comfortable. As you acknowledge your differences and allow everyone to have them, you step into a higher dimension of your true self. So, be kind, be patient with yourself. Stop judging yourself and stop judging others. Come from that place of non-judgment as often as you can, and it will be hard. It will be difficult at times. But do your best. We love you. You are greatly loved. You are magnificent beings. You are multidimensional beings, and you are of the one. You are not just human. You are galactic beings. And this you will understand more and more as the years roll by. We love you. You are greatly loved. That is all that we have for all of you today. We are honored to serve. We have come together at this moment in time to be of assistance to humanity. So we thank you for this opportunity, and we wish you peace, love, and joy. Thank you.